Pleasure to be joined on the show, I think for the first time, which is a failure on my part. It's the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. It's Paul Skenes. Paul, thanks for taking a minute to be with us. Talk baseball in a minute, but I was reading today about how you and your girlfriend, Libby Dunn, are just back from this USO tour. And I've had colleagues, Paul, that have done similar things, and it is a consistent thread that they all come back with people and stories and experiences that stay with them far beyond the time that they return. I'm interested if you've found that similar deal where you're going to just sort of carry with you the moments and the messages from the folks you got to meet.
Yeah, I think obviously the USO tour is for the, we went on an aircraft carrier, so it's for the sailors, to kind of lift morale and lighten the mood over a 9, 10, 12-month deployment. But I think we came back with such a unbelievable understanding of what they do, day in, day out, getting to understand what it's like at sea, when you don't know exactly when you're going to get back home, with a lot of people that, you may know pretty well, you may not know at all when you start the deployment, but by the end, you know them pretty well. So it was an unbelievable experience to get to share that with them, to go on and see what it's like. So definitely going to carry that for the rest of my life.
I know my colleagues, Stuart Scott, were following the documentary on his life, and Steve Levy went over to Kuwait, and one of the things that the men and women there shared is just how much they appreciated just SportsCenter. It's something that makes them feel like home. I imagine baseball is similar. Did you hear things like that? Just the idea of what, if you're adrift at sea, right, and you're far away from home, just the idea of what baseball might mean. Did you hear some sense of that from them?
Yeah, I mean, we went during the playoffs, and so they don't really have Wi-Fi. They can't watch the games. They can't stream the games, from their rooms or anything like that. And it's, the games are going on when it's 2, 3, 4 a.m. And so it was funny because we're sitting in the cafeterias and they're rerunning the games from the night before. We're watching the Blue Jays play the Yankees and the Dodgers play the Brewers and whoever it was at the time. And we're getting to talk ball through it. So it was pretty cool. That's the stuff that, I could tell. I got them through the day, through the deployment. Sports are huge. You get a lot of people from different backgrounds and different parts of the country, different parts of the world. Like that brings people together. And it's pretty cool. And we could feel that being there, meeting people from Pittsburgh who are Pirates fans. It was cool for me to meet those people. Hopefully it was cool for them too. So,
right.
But yeah, definitely bonded over baseball.
I'm going to go ahead and fill in the blank and say I'm pretty sure it was, to meet someone like you that has translated immediately. We never know, Paul. Great college football player, basketball, baseball. Like, is it going to translate immediately? It has for you. In terms of what you expected or hoped, and what has been the reality, like how closely are they kind of married? Like what you thought could be versus what has already been in a short time in the bigs?
Yeah, I mean, I think back to the draft. I think back to when I was in college, and if you had told me, 5 years ago that, I'll stick on the USO theme. If you had told me 5 years ago that the USO would be reaching out to me to go overseas and be like, hey, people want to meet you, I never would have thought that would be the case. So obviously in baseball, like, I think it's a product of just not putting limits on yourself. I never thought, I don't put goals on my season. It's not about winning the Cy Young or anything like that. It's about winning the World Series, but personal goals, it's not anything like that. So it's kind of just one of those things for me where I've looked up at the end of the year, looked up at the All-Star break, looked up whenever, and it's going well, or it's going, not how I want it to be in some aspects, and then you kind of just go from there. So it's been cool. It's flown by. It really has. It's moved quickly since college. So yeah.
I bet it has. And it's interesting to hear you say, all right, I'm not necessarily going into a season saying I want to do A, B, or C. But is there an accomplishment, a number, a start, a pitch? Is there something that you look back on and go, damn, I did that. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, I think there are probably a couple pitches. I mean, like, because I work all off season on last year it was the sinker. That was my off season project, and I bring it in, and then I get into the season, and I remember specific times that I worked on throughout the season or that I executed during the season where I was working on it in the off season about front hipping a lefty, backdooring a righty, and it's like, all right, that's why I do the work in the off season. So it's probably not what most people think, but those are the ones that I kind of remember.
Front hip in the lefty and backdoor in the righty. Did I get that right? That's what we did?
Yes, sir.
Right on. I'm not capable of either, but I just want to make sure. I want to know what I'm looking for next year, and I'm watching you. So I grew up an Oriole fan, all right? And the news comes out today, hey, they're going to get Pete Alonso, and I'm like, awesome. Then my next thought is, cool, when are we going to get a starting pitcher? If you have the ear of Santa Claus or the ear of your front office, you're clearly the guy that they're building around in Pittsburgh. At the end of last season, you're saying, look, we got to learn from some stuff here. Like, is there a wish list? Is there? And I'm not talking about players, but just what you'd ideally see begin to build around you in Pittsburgh so that this can be heading in the direction everyone hopes for there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the clubhouse as a whole; it's a 26-man roster, and then you start to you look at strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, our starting pitching and our pitching as a whole is a strength. And then you start looking at individual positions. I think that's, probably pretty publicly in the, our Christmas wish list. So it's not too much of a secret of what we want to do, what we need to do, what we're trying to do. Now it's just about going out there and doing it. So I'm curious to see what happens the rest of the off season. Looking forward to spring training. I think it's going to be a different feeling, but these next couple months are going to be interesting.
I just figure you speak it into existence. You say it here. Maybe the folks are listening. And the next thing you know, what happens? They're like, well, I'm like Santa Claus. You never know. I want to close with this. You mentioned the off-season project last year, and clearly you brought it to the mound with you in the 25 season. Between now and the spring, when we see you out there again, is there a specific thing, Paul, that you're trying to improve upon or add to the tool belt, so to speak?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
Just keep being you.
We'll
It's probably
see.
good enough.
Yeah, the off season's funny because when you get on the mound, at least for me last year, my first 5 starts or something like that, my arm was like 4 degrees lower than it normally is, and so your stuff moves differently, and that's kind of a product of just how you move in the off season. And so we'll see where my stuff is. I'm fully expecting that to happen again. Doesn't happen by design. It's just kind of, the nature of ramping up and the body changing over 6 months of lifting and throwing on flat. So we'll kind of see where I am, and then the stuff's going to change a little bit. That's just how my body works. So we'll see where I'm at come spring training.
It's simple. Just front hip the lefties and backdoor the righties. It's pretty simple. Let's just bring that approach with us, and it's going to be all cookies and ice cream, man. I'm being stupid, but I might be serious a little bit. You never know. Paul, I appreciate you taking a minute, man. You've been on an amazing trajectory. Good health and good luck. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you out there in the springtime, all right?
Yeah, appreciate it, Scott. Thank you for having me.